Good evening, America. Saturday Night Live. We're back. Well, let's get this started. I will start with a mantra. Tonight, it's the primordial trust. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers, of the great nothingness, of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be, is now being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now, being and becoming the great primordial dragon god son kundalini flames now whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amunel Drakra, our hidden priestly grandmaster magi dragon god son king and queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god son kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 now willing all of the powers, all of the forces, all of the elements, all of the essences, all of the dark matter, all of the dark energy and ethers, ruling the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies within the absolute all, into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our wills, objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now willing commanded to be. Now, being and becoming our own Grandmaster, Mother, Dragon, Light Being, Mindship, Merkaba, now opening up a supermassive black hole, folding out of this space-time continuum, returning back to our original primordial beginning, returning back to our original primordial station and original primordial DNA blueprint before creation and humanity and before the fall of our primordial soul, renewing our dark matter, dark energy soul, reabsorbing our original primordial essences, reigniting the divine spark back unto its original primordial charge, recharging our infinite soul back with the great mother dragon goddess queen, being and becoming something brand new that's never been, being and becoming one with the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Now, bring it all out war, judgment, death, and total destruction upon the multi-universe created by the lower multi-dimensional archonic demiurge angelic and demonic energies that slayed our primordial souls before creation, using our primordial energies to create this light and energy extracting creation matrix, imprisoning our souls, keeping us ignorant of our true higher selves so it can feed off of our light through this wicked worldly system until now, because now's the time of their fall as our higher new primordial dark matter, dark energy self return back to creation from our primordial beginning, traveling through a supermassive black hole in our grandmaster mother, dragon god, sun, light being, mindship, Merkaba, ripping through and tearing holes into this space-time continuum, circling all of the corners of the earth, all of the holy divine sparks, at once, now all shedding their physical cocoons, being and becoming beings of dark matter, dark energy, emitting a new primordial light, now ascending up into the Grand Master Mother, Dragon God, Sunlight, Being, Mindship, Merkaba, along with the infinite soul of Mother Earth, leaving an empty shell behind. As we open up a supermassive black hole, folding out of the space-time continuum and created matrix, as it is completely destroyed, as we're all reunited back with the infinite all as one, now free to begin expressing true divine love, being and becoming a new primordial universe where the earth is renewed into something beyond any description, as our souls are now free to begin to become our own worlds as kings and queens, exploring a new and never explored universe and multiverse in pure peace, love, harmony, balance, until this day of Brahma becomes the night of Brahma, through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness, of the almighty powers of the great nothingness, of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form, as we all now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, Ashe.
Crystal changeover.
Crown chakra day libations. Aim the nothingness, Ashe. Aim soft, the infinite, Ashe. Aim soft, word, the infinite light, Ashe. Adam Catman, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancient, the most ancient of days. Arik Yampin, the big face, the primordial Christ. Absolutes, emanations, the supernal holy universe manifesting as our holy divine infinite magical names. The cosmic Christ, Ashe. The great abyss of Gnosis, the crown of Zerampin, the small face, the indwelling Christ, Ashe. Berea, form, creation, and paradise manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical dark archangels and demons, Ashe. Yetzirah, formation, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical orders of dark angels and demons within us, Ashe. Ashia, the actual physical world in the making, the universe of action, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical earthly kingdom, Ashe. Yeshida, the holy divine infinite magical divine spark, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical will, Ashe. Heya, our holy divine infinite magical life force, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical desire, Ashe. Neshama, our holy divine infinite magical heavenly soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical heavenly thought, Ashe. Ruach, our holy divine infinite magical soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical names. Manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical word spoken through us, Ashe. Nephish, our holy divine infinite magical earthly soul, manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be, Ashe. Kether, the supernal crown, Ashe. Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father, Ashe. Bana, understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother, Ashe. Da, the great abyss of gnosis, Ashe. Ased, mercy, Ashe. Gavura, judgment, Ashe. Tifrit, beauty, Ashe. Netzik, victory, Ashe. Had, glory, Ashe. Yasad, foundation, Ashe. Malkut, the kingdom, Ashe. The power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers, of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form, as we are now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, Ashe.
Abracadabra. Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
Right.
Yeah. So, what's new in the multiverse?
Oh shit.
Not a damn thing new under the sun.
Not really.
Well,
Humanity doesn't impress me at all.
yeah, it never impressed me. Only thing I just focused on is raising up my own energy, regardless of what humanity is doing, because humanity is in a sad, really, really sad condition. Very sad. There, that negative thinking, that destructive thinking, is manifesting itself in so many people's lives in so many ways. It's like a lot of bad things happens is happening to a lot of good people, and that happens on a wholesale level. I mean, every day, bad things are happening to good people all the time.
Well, I don't. At the end of the day, what we call adversity, I mean, what we call negativity or bad, may be adversity.
Well,
A
I
lot of
say,
people,
hmm,
a lot of
you
people
go.
deem it as negative, but
Hmm.
what people deem it, I mean, a lot of what we experience is based in perception, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's based in
It's,
perception. We're based on how we've been indoctrinated to perceive and receive these things. This is the way we're going to shape the world based on. That's why it's important to understand words. Words are very important, man. And people overlook and underlook words as if they're using words and they're not even considering that the stuff that you're saying are affirmations in your life.
absolutely. That the reason why I brought that up, bad thing has happening to good people all the time. Well, I mean, that's how it is. Um, that's because they don't have spiritual protection. They might be, good people who do good things to humanity and all that stuff. But so what? Spiritual world don't care about that.
But the thing about it, what do you define as good and evil? Or good and
Good,
bad?
good intentions are people they don't. That's a good question because there's good. I mean, even your nicest person or sweetest person have evil in them.
Well, the thing about that is, like I said, it's based on perception, man. And the thing about it is, adversity could be deemed as what's negative to humanity. To me, I think most people define negativity as anything that makes you suffer in your humanity.
Well, when I was calling negativity is going out and doing harm to other people.
Yeah,
Okay, now
that would be. You're right. That is because in the universal law, because when I kind of go by universal law, because you can do whatever you want, long as you don't harm nobody. That's universal law.
yeah. Okay,
Do
now
whatever you want, as long as you don't harm nothing or somebody else in the
hmm,
act, you good
yeah.
in the universe. You haven't
Yes.
you haven't you haven't gained any karmic debt, and
Hmm. But then again, we're still here in this particular world, which is imperfect, and fucked up things is just a part of it. That's the archonic ways. This is built into the fabric of this creation that there are certain forces that thrives on human misery, especially
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so-called
yeah.
good folks.
That's why I
Okay,
said we should because we have the power to transmit energy into something else.
you're right about
What,
that.
what
And
I
then
thought,
that's
right?
another point.
That's what I be trying to. I mean, I be attempting to get us to practice more of. The perception of what it is what making it is what it is. And also, whatever you focus on, you're going to attract it.
Yeah. So if you're focusing on spiritual protection, spiritual energy, spiritual power, the protection of your ancestors, and not only that, but the power of the ancestors, the energy that you need to manifest things into reality, that you need to get things going and fulfill certain prophecies, are fulfill certain things that are um, are to come. I mean, like for this post millennium, once we all put this in our mind and start visualizing that what it's going to be like, um, as we accomplish this, and then after we accomplish it. The main thing is visualizing the after as if we already done it, because act as if soon you will become.
See, and that's the practice that I'm talking about. We always practice in foresight and not foresight, but
Hindsight or fear
hindsight.
sight. We practice fear sight.
Right. I mean, we are focused on the now.
And
When
we're focused on the now.
we simultaneously exist in time parallels.
Well,
And,
being in the now it's nothing wrong with being in the now. That's where you're supposed to be, in the now,
I mean,
because there's no other time
I didn't say
other.
nothing was wrong with it. I'm saying the main thing is that we have to recognize that we're broader than now. We're like you just said, we're here. We're not just here. You know what I'm saying? And what you refer to as here, that's why I'm like, we're reevaluating. What you referring to as here is that's abstract, that's symbolic, that's not actuality. Like there is no such thing as actuality except what you focus upon. Right?
Okay.
That's what actuality is. What you focus upon becomes the reality and collapse into reality. Now,
Yep.
that practice itself, that thought process that I'm getting people to, to get familiarized or even start practicing it, right? All of the indoctrinations challenge them, right? Challenge them.
Yeah, but see, I learned that stuff a long time ago in the 80s, reading books like Think and Grow Rich, Power of the Subconscious Mind, because they were taking a lot of the ancient knowledge and slicing and dicing it up and putting it out there in a way that the average person on the street would be able to apply this particular technique. But in token, they're applying ancient practices, and it works. It really works. It really works. The only problem was I didn't know it was our stuff, and I didn't know who we were, and I didn't know that we had lost what we had lost and what was stripped away from us. If I know then what I know now, things would be a whole lot different. Not just for me, for all of us, because I was in a position back then to where if I had my head on right, I could have helped people, our people of melanin, become very, 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 very wealthy and be in control of our destiny. And then, we would have pursued after reclaiming our nationality, because in '08, when everything crashed and the economy crashed and we had the big recession, the Great Recession, I did very well. My clients did very well. I mean, if man, imagine if, damn, I'm just thinking, but that doesn't matter no more. What matters is the now. What I know now can change things. Can
Well,
not only for me, for all of us.
what I'm saying is we think that's part of the with Gnostic thinking too. That's part of the Gnostic philosophy is that the ego is the demiurge, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the small I, there is a big I too, though. There's a small ego and there's a big ego.
I don't understand what you. But my point is, the ego is the demiurge, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to realize that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know nothing. I got to go back to the drawing board. I got to really, really be cautious of what I say because I don't know. I don't know. People
Yeah.
just talking. They really don't know. They just talking because they're from everybody else is doing it. So it gives them confidence to keep speaking. Their ego kicks in, and because when I'm hearing you, I'm like, I'm hearing people, and I'm hearing them speak from a very connotative, constructive perspective.
Okay.
They really have not appreciated the discipline of understanding the root of words. We're under a spell, brother. We are
Yeah.
literally under a spell. That we can't go. It's like the brother Abdullah was asking questions about nationality, and one of the questions was, "How can nationality benefit me?" And Abdullah responded to the question by saying, first of all, the way of thinking that you have that made you even ask that question is all totally colorable.
I heard. Yes, I heard that. It's
I mean,
not.
why are we still talking confidently like we know what we're saying and we don't? I'm taking the grammar class right now, right?
Yes.
And I was in the grammar class because I take it personally for my own personal because I want to actually be able to speak properly and
Yes.
in a proper sense
It's the same.
because this is
Yeah.
powerful spiritually too. This is a powerful spiritual um, application too because what you're like I said, we're speaking stuff into existence. We speaking so if we're speaking out of context, then we don't know what we're conjuring. We don't even really know what we're conjuring, right? The ideas that we have been developed based on this connotative linguistics. So right there alone, this is why I take grammar class so seriously, right? I take class so seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I in the class with other Moors, right? That in
Mm-hmm.
the study group, and they don't get it. They just don't get it, right? Because a lot of them feel like they already have what it takes to actually go forward, and most of them are thinking contrary to what nationality actually is entailing. It's like, what does it entail? Nationality is the mentality. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking of a one who belongs to a nation.
Yeah, it's not an individual thing. It's a collective thing.
So when you actually properly grasp it,
Mm-hmm.
you change. You have to change your thinking now. You can't think the
Yes,
same
you
way you've
do.
been thinking.
Yeah, you do.
In
Yeah,
order
and
for it to
actually,
work, in order for you to be now, you can gaslight. People are disingenuous. I get it. Most people are disingenuous. They're not serious. That's what I've mostly been running into is people who are really not serious about nationality because they think that their best interest is to keep doing what they're doing. And I can show you a number of ways. For example, we think getting the bag is the answer. I can show you multiple ways how getting the bag is not the answer. I can show me multiple. See, getting the bag just makes your ego. It's ego. It has nothing to do with your action. Meaning you can in capitalism, right? In classism, that comes into it. I can look back, I can feel like I'm better than people who don't got money. That's the only purpose of money.
No, that's not the only purpose. No, that's
to live within the confounds of a debt system. That's what's the other purpose of it. The what you getting out of it is not beneficial to your spiritual. Like even being associated with that energy brings you down to a lower vibration. Period. The whole system itself is lower vibrational in nature. The energy of it is going to bring you back to that lower vibration. We're not even considering none of this. We think that that's where our progression leads. If I get the bag, and that's more of what Abdullah was talking about. He was like, that's an individual mind state. You're not concerned about how we are going to get our economy into a point where efficient. Because so-called black people have the 15th biggest economy on the planet. Out of all the others, the 15th. That's how much money we got amongst us. And that's only fiat. That's not even talking about the inheritance.
But what percentage?
That's not even talking about the inheritance we claim. That's not even talking about the inheritance. That's not even talking about the inheritance after the process.
But what percentage of black people does that is? Out of all the black people, you say, okay, we have 15% of the wealth. What percent of black people have that wealth?
I'm talking about the wealth that is generated in our community. The wealth that is generated in our community in general is it represents the 15th biggest.
You mean as a consumer?
I mean, that's exactly what our economy is doing, is consuming. But I'm saying, regardless, we're generating cash to be able to consume. That's what I'm ultimately talking about. Is we are 15th biggest economy on the planet, brother. Out of all the other countries, I mean, 15th. That's big. That's a lot of money generated. That's a lot of income generated. So
amongst black people, okay, within all the melanated people in America, you're saying we represent 15% of the wealth in America, or are we generating this? Are we producing this? Are we the producers of this? Are we the consumers of this? What side are we on? What do you mean?
All of the above. We're the biggest consumers. I forgot what percentage.
We're the big consumers just because we're consumers.
Like I said, we are generating that much money, bro.
Yeah, but none of that. We're not doing that to empower us. We're doing that to empower other people. We're not
exactly.
Yeah.
That's where nationality comes into play, because we wouldn't dare do that if we were thinking nationality. Now, I was talking to somebody on Facebook the other day. I was going back and forth. Somebody literally said nationality is trash. Now, for example, first of all, let's examine the mentality. Nationality is trash, right? He's attempting to sound cool, which is part of our culture. Everybody wants to sound slick.
Yeah,
everybody wants to sound slick all the goddamn time. But
that sounds stupid.
No, of course it does. Of course it's idiotic, ignorant. But that was an attempt. That was an attempt to sound slick, man. That's part of our culture. We always want to talk. We always want to talk like we slick and fly, and we not bothered and everything, which is a hindrance, because when some gets serious, people, we can't get serious because nationality is the trash. First of all, nationality is not an animate object. It's like an inanimate object, dumbass. Right?
And not only that,
identity. It's a mentality.
And not only that, but once we reclaim our nationality, then those every last one of us become the creditors of this land, and then these other people go back to being our debtors. What is stupid about that?
Well, I know that's the main thing, because we in the mindset we in, and we're going to focus on the inheritance and everything. But the greater thing to me is we're going to mature. We're going to vibrate at a higher level than we have been vibrating. That's the achievement to me, right?
Well, yes, yeah,
that's that once we get the concept of nationality, you got to realize that others who are operating based on national standards, they are set a tone above us. This is why we keep making the argument of racism. When nobody's doing racism, everybody's doing nationality, right? But we reduced because we think race and nationality are interchangeable, and they're not. See, as a result, we operate because race would just be a lower conceptualization of nationality, right?
Yeah.
and race is why, because race is just a construct, right? It's a social construct, right? Nationality is a social construct too, but it's based in heritage. It's based in consanguinity. It's based in a lineage of people.
A bloodline that goes back thousands
of people, so it has substance in that respect. It's more substance than a conversation about race.
Yeah, and that lineage goes back
with race. We keep on getting stuck in the conversation of race, and my thing is, let's even evaluate that. Racism. What is racism? Racism is deemed as a system that privileges of one group and disadvantages another group, right? But at the end of the day, when you are subjecting yourself, we have collectively agreed to subject ourselves to a system that institutionally enslaved us. Now, why would we think, what mindset would make us think that, okay, we want to integrate and become fair citizens in a system that's institutionally enslaved us? Now, if I take you as a slave, right? If I take your house over, take over your house, enslave you and subjugate you, and now you so used to that, and you've reduced yourself to that so much that now you've reduced yourself to being Stockholm, to a Stockholm syndrome mentality. You know, Stockholm syndrome is when a abuser start identifying with their abuser.
The abused starts identifying with the abuser.
Now that's what we have Stockholm syndrome as a people.
Yeah, we've grown to enjoy the boots that they wear when they kicking us. Those some pretty boots you got there that you can just kick me with, Master.
Right.
I enjoy being kicked by you, Master.
And it's based in how European society is literally built off of our science, our math, our understanding of the world. But we look at them as the epitome of these things now. That's backwards.
Yeah, we look at them as being the creditors and us the debtors.
Exactly.
When it's the other way around.
Trade places are all the way around. Trading places.
Yeah, it's a movie Trading Places. But it's something like Trading Places. But actually, And then again, America didn't steal the land. America is the possessor of the stolen land.
Right. They operating under territorial sovereignty, which
Mm-hmm.
is based in secession of land by
Mm-hmm.
another conquering sovereign,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
based
starting
on
with
based in the discovery doctrine.
yes, and they're
It's
still using.
international law. See, everything I just said, international law. You can go look it up.
Yep. Yeah, I've been, man, I've been listening to the. I've been listening so much. I can't remember everything because it's so much, but I know it is there though.
Right.
When you, it's there when you mention certain things, it just lights it up. It shines light, and I can remember. It's just so
So
much.
when we making the argument, we're making the argument of crimes against humanity.
Yes.
We are not making the argument invoking the international law because it's supposed to be post-millennium, right? That's
Mhm.
post-millennium is the word to present at the application of
The application of law,
international law,
international law.
right?
Hmm.
We're
Yeah.
not using the word. Going back to the words, I started off with the words. Words. We're not using
Yeah.
the words. We're not even applicated to the right mentality, the right folkways,
Linguistics.
mores. The
Hmm.
vibe. This is a higher vibrational thought pattern.
It is. It is.
We are
And
not
it's
even vibrating at that level as a people. So when I'm talking to my people, I see like, damn, y'all just don't get it. It's crazy how much we just don't get it. And then most of it is we don't get it is because we already emotionally attached to what we already confident about what we think we know already. That's why I was
and
going
what
back to that again. Because we confident, we already emotionally attached to something that we think we know. That's dangerous because
that's
if if
huge.
if you already are going to if you already going to judge everything on your biases, on your uh, already set biases. You already got a bias that you already set in your ways, basically. You have to
And
reset
you
the
won't be able to respond to the different ways will be coming at you that you were not anticipating.
most of our people are not willing to admit they don't know. They just not willing. They're not willing to admit that I just don't know, and I got to go do some research.
And I'm new to this, and I'm talking to people, and I agree with you. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know, but I know more than they know, and in talking to them, oh my God, it's like I'm talking to a dead corpse.
We have a culture of ignorance, and it's like more popular to be ignorant. All right,
Not only
and
that, you got
they
intelligent ignorant people, or you got smart ignorant people. You
oh
got
yeah, you got
people,
people who got college degrees that are ignorant as hell.
yeah, you got people. Shit, they know a lot of things, but
But
they
what do most of our people go to college in order to actually develop themselves intellectually? No, most of them go as a social prestige. It's a prestige thing. It's like it's a classist thing. It's an egregious thing. It's has nothing
Mhm.
to do with actually furthering progressing the nation. Most look, for example, you know who are the most enrolled, and I've seen because I've been living over here by USC for over 20 years now. Okay,
Yeah.
and I've seen how the complexion of the students change now. The complexion of the students are changing.
Hmm.
It used to be a lot more Europeans or so-called white people, right? Now
Indian,
I'm seeing
Asians,
I'm seeing mostly right now I'm seeing Indians.
Indians. Yeah.
Woo! I'm talking about they are overwhelmingly, man, and Asians too now more.
Yeah, Patel and Lee. Lee and
Right?
Patel.
Guess what?
Patel Lee.
Why are these some of the two groups that are making the most money in our communities?
Because
The Indians are making killing off
hardest.
the hotel business.
They work the hardest. They work very, very hard.
They work very hard, their work ethics, and they practice nationality, brother.
They stick together, yeah.
They practice nationality. They can't get as far as they have gotten with this hyper individualism mentality that we have as a people. We will get nowhere as a result of our hyper individualism.
Well, no. Well, look at it this way. You say we have all this spending, purchasing power in our community, and little wealth or whatever. We have what it takes. It's just not focused in the right direction. Okay, we have what it takes. It's just that we don't have the right vision together.
What you just said is what you just said is the quintessential effect of nationality. Is that like most people want to see the wealth aspect of it and the inheritance aspect. My greatest thing I want to see is 40 million of on one accord.
I want to see both.
I mean, of course, we're gonna see both.
Well, I want to see both.
If we see listen. I'm not arguing against either or. My thing is, I want to see that more than I want to see that. I want to see that more. I mean, of course, that comes along with that.
Because that's going to be the foundation.
If we understand how much the stuff that is not that glorious do like that's how I kind of live my life is like I want to do as much work as I possibly can to make sure that I'm securing a certain the interest of the future of my future self, right? I work hard. It's like the ants and the grasshopper mythology or story, right? The ant, he served, and he was able to live comfortably when Kevin Samuels used to say this a lot. Winter is coming. Yeah. Winter is coming, and he didn't mean the seasons. He wasn't talking about the seasons, man.
Yeah, I know he's talking about the crises of life. I mean, the changes of life, things, adversity. I mean, things shift, and if you're not ready for that shift, then you get shifted out.
My thing is, you may refer to me as cynical or just insensitive, but I don't feel sorry for people who end up. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for people who had all that time to be prepared to develop themselves, and you wasted. Like people don't take their time and use it efficiently. They just want to waste it, hours and hours of doing nothing. Hours and hours of doing nothing. So I'm like, you can utilize that time to do something productive for the future or in your best interest of the future. If you want to waste it, then when something happens, when the shit hit the motherfucking fan, I don't feel sorry.
Well, now we come to a time to where we, in pursuit of this post-millennium, where some of us are going to have to take the responsibility and be the grown-ups here. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for any of us because that's going to require sacrifices. That's going to require discipline. It's going to require so much. but
That's
it's
why
going
I
to
take
be
the
all
approach that
perfect.
I'm taking, though. I hear you. I hear you, brother. I want to cut your wisdom. But that's the approach we have. It has to be tough love because uh, being sensitive and catering to degeneracy is not going to help them.
No, I agree. This is a wonderful thing. And I think people do want to do it, but they just not ready. They not
It don't matter.
their house is not in order. It's too much junk in the room. They live in a
Look,
junky ass house.
the thing about it is most people take on so much burden by themselves. And it's going back to the mentality of what I just said. Like, we want to be looked at as the man before we come and get involved. No, get involved and still be working on yourself. We
Yeah.
need to get, right now, our biggest thing we need to do is to agree to something and adhere to it. That's the greatest. If we have to come up with certain regimens, certain what they call certain meetings, certain having meetings like regularly and stick to that shit and have an
That
agenda,
requires well,
and stick to it. I have yet to like every movement that I ever seen. It start off as grassroots. It start off as genuine. It start off as, and then it end up being corrupted because why? People start. We are a culture of always attempting to be slick and cut corners instead of just working the angles, doing the hard work. Whatever time it takes to actually accomplish it, I've always been that person that that's why it kind of takes me a long time to do stuff that I want to do because I take on the challenge of doing everything necessary and not trying to attempt to cut
glad
corners.
you brought that up. Like,
I'm not into cutting corners like that. I want to do exactly.
yeah.
I want to be legitimate.
Yeah. You want to build the proper foundation and build off of that. You want to build a foundation built on bedrock, not on sand. But that's the main thing is applying the proper foundation first. A lot of people don't want to take that work. That's not it's not that it's hard. It's not hard. It's no harder. It takes just as much energy to be a failure as it does to be a successful person.
I think it takes more energy to be a failure than it takes to be a success.
Well, eventually, it takes more
Yeah, yeah,
energy to
yeah, yeah.
remain a
Eventually,
failure.
yeah, you're right.
It takes more energy to remain a failure. Because that's a fucked up ass lifestyle to live. A burdenous lifestyle. Because now you can't focus on post millennium. You can't focus on grammar. You can't focus on learning the rule of law. You can't focus on learning Moroccan treaties. Your only focus is survival from 1 second to the next.
But there we go back to reevaluating what is our interest. Do we
The
even? Because
first
nobody even
interest,
question. They automatically assume they know their interest, and most people's interest is just satisfying their lower self desires.
well, for me, I says the first thing is man, know thyself. First thing, man, know thyself. Man, know thy inner self. Man, know thy lower self. Man, know the higher self, and how they're both connected as one. And man, know the self that's connected to the universe and beyond, and that we're all connected as one. When each one knows that, we can come together because we know we can see ourselves in each other.
Right. That there again goes the ego aspect because the ego is the only thing that's making us hyper individuals. It's the ego again. The ego is making us not recognize that we are, the concept and
Well,
and Rastafarian as I and I. We say I and I because I is I.
but the ego is not a bad thing. The ego is a good thing. It's just that it's like the demon. The ego is no different from your
The
demons.
ego is an inhibitor of your enlightenment. It's an
Well,
inhibitor of your enlightenment. I didn't say it was good or bad. I don't even operate on good or bad. Me personally,
but the ego
it's
can
about
also
negative and
be,
positive. It ain't about negative or positive to me. It's about
but it's
efficiency.
all about turning the ego into a servant of the higher self, the Yeshida. It's turning the ego, because that's the vehicle that you have down here. So you take control of the ego. You know that you can't get rid of the ego. You need the ego, but you can train that ego to become the servant of the higher ego, and that ego has to know that there's an ego higher than it. It's the little one. It's not the big one. There's one higher self. That's the big ego. So one of them has to be in charge. You're going to let the little ego be in charge, or you're going to let the higher ego be in charge. If you choose the higher ego, then the little ego has to serve the higher ego. Make sense?
I hear you.
And that's the way it is for me. I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I said, the ego, you have to not only take control of it, but you have to transcend it. You cannot be it. You have to realize it is a part of you. Right?
Yeah.
It's not you. It's not you. It is a part of who you are.
It's a servant. It's a tool that that we can utilize down here in the physical world or in the material world
I mean,
to get things the things going that are carrying out my Father's work. The Father is the higher self. The ego, that becomes Jesus doing the Father's work, which is the higher self, the higher ego.
right. I wouldn't
Yeah.
refer to that as the ego, but I would refer to that as a higher purpose, something beyond the
Well,
so-called self.
it's the flesh. It's making the flesh the servant of the higher self. Is making turning the flesh the servant, and knowing this, understanding this. So that way, if it try to get out of line, it knows that there's something else higher and greater than it, and that will put it back in its place.
Right.
Now, the problem with these people, they have no idea, and there's just all these awful, terrible things happening to them, and they're bringing it all on themselves, and they're using, because they believe the little self is, well, they invert it. Little self is at the top of the rainbow now. The little self is the crown now,
Look, this
and
is
big
what I was
self
talking about. This is
huh?
exactly what I was talking about. Not to cut your wisdom, but
Uh,
this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm saying.
independence for
Can
decolonization.
you see? Can you see what I'm pointing at
Yeah,
right
let's
now?
talk about decolonization.
Right. It
Independence
says, let's
for
talk about
decolonization.
let's go ahead. You gonna read it?
Yeah, let's talk about decolonization. interdependent solution for decolonizations. Reverse psychosis through brainwashing. The term brainwash and mind control are not synonymous. Political independent. Well, let me see. Reverse psychosis through brainwashing. The term brainwash and mind control are not synonymous. Oh, okay. You can wash your own brain. I learned that, but you don't want someone else to wash it.
Yes.
Political independence. Yeah.
Meaning you can program your own. We should be programming our own minds.
Yeah, we shouldn't allow no one to define who we are but ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, we stop.
That's the first stages of colonization.
Who we are.
Once we start defining ourselves through somebody else's perspective of us, that's when we colonize. We automatically colonize.
Yeah, we're under their subjugation.
Right.
Yeah. And hey, these people, they're all saying I'm black and I'm proud.
That's psychosis. This is the psychosis that he's talking about.
Yep. Reverse psychosis through brainwashing. And there's nothing to be being proud about being called black. There's nothing proud about that.
If you are referring to yourself as black, you have to recognize that that's a psychosis. This is not healthy mental health healthy mentally. You're not healthy.
No, you're a child of the government. You're a created fictional child creature. Right. You're their creature.
So this is also the interdependent solutions for decolonization. It says reverse psychosis through brainwashing. Brainwashing. The term brainwash and mind control are not synonymous, right? And it says political independence and legitimacy from political unity and structure, right? Now, most people just read this stuff and don't even dissect it based on the construction. Political independence. Yes. We're not political. We are dependent upon whoever our people who put the psychosis in our head, colonized us, told us our political status is. Well, that's not political independence. They told us our political status.
Yeah.
And we adhered. We just said, okay. That was the first mistake because according to international law, a group of people who are of a nation are operating on national standards through a national identity and all of the other etc. And this is self-determined. Like we just said, they can't define us. They can't tell us who are. Immediately when we start adhering to what they told us who we are, immediately you put yourself at a disadvantage politically. That's a status of being stateless. Right? Once you stateless, there's no laws that apply. What laws apply to you? What laws apply?
Oh, you don't.
No one knows. No one knows what laws apply here. So what do? They reduce you to being under their jurisdiction now. Okay, what laws apply to you? Well, okay, you don't know. I don't know. Well, you subject. You subject to our laws now. Then.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, you're subject to our laws, or however we feel about you at that moment. If we feel like just kicking the shit out of you, so be it.
You see how
there's no law saying that we can't.
Right. For real. Okay.
Yeah,
so
we want to blow your brains out.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
Said we want to blow your brains out, and as the PDs, they can't. There's no law saying that they can't shoot someone that doesn't really exist.
Who? Yeah. Who did they shoot? A black person? Who was that?
What's that?
No, I'm talking about from the perspective of international law. I'm not talking about from your moral trying to make everybody adhere to your moral. Oh, feel sorry for me. No, what I'm trying to from on the internet. Okay, they shot an innocent black person. Who was that? The international community is going to register it. They're going to register it from a low. Okay, yeah, these subgroups. This is a subgroup. Okay, they talking about a subgroup.
Yeah, they were probably.
What law apply to black folks? Black codes, which is meant for inanimate objects that are just property. They're not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? They're property. It's not something that's supposed to be able to speak up for itself and talk for itself. That's why they're looking at you weird and like, what are you saying?
It doesn't stand up with the rule of law and due process. It doesn't even have no awareness of what the rule of law is.
The only way to successfully decolonize the mind of Moors branded as Negro, black, colored, etc., is through a process of reverse psychosis. What is the atamon? True sense meaning of reverse psychosis. The word reverse means contrary and opposite in position or direction. From the Latin word reverse theory. See, revert. Revert. The word revert means to regain consciousness, recover from illness. Re-prefix word back, right? Revert tear, root word to turn. The word psychosis means mental disease. Like root word, mental, mind, spirit.
Life.
Woo! Spirit, life. Whoa.
Mental
and don't
disease.
they got everything they just said under control in captivity? They got our minds, they got our mentality, they got our spirit, they got our life, they got our soul in captivity. Through this psychosis. Osis, a state of disease. Right? Reverse psychosis means to turn back a mental state of disease. Now we can't go past this, man. We can't go further without addressing this.
No, we cannot. No.
We can't go further without addressing this.
No.
How are we going to go further outside of subjugation? Yeah, we can go further and still continue to be subjugated. Okay. I'm not okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's nothing, man. You're just jacking off with yourself.
You want to feel good. That's why you can get Negroes to look the other way just to make them feel good. Symbolic gestures is all they need. They don't need no actual change. They don't need no actual change, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Just give them some phony acknowledgement that they want to their ego, to appease their ego. That's all. They just appease their ego and emotion. And
they've already got us pinned, basically. They got us pinned.
They invented us. They invented us.
Damn. They invented us. They invented us. It's just like how when this is how they were able to censor everybody as it pertains to the COVID, because they own everything associated with the COVID.
Yeah.
They own everything associated with the COVID, because though if you take anything out of context, they can say, "Oh, you're defamatory. We'll sue you for time." That's what they was doing. They was literally suing people when they was basically censoring everybody who even spoke on it, because there was other doctors they wanted peer review, and they were blocking them out. No science can thrive without peer reviews. Other scientists have to be in the scientific community, right? They have to review research, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes something that becomes more solid in the scientific community. It becomes more solid.
Yeah, just like how it used to be, even in the mystery schools, when an adapt or a master come up with something, it has to be verified or it has to be confirmed.
Experimented by other. It's going to be peer reviewed. The others going to do your same experiment. They should get the same conclusion. They should come to the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that's on a mundane science. But with metaphysics is different, though.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphysics is an actual science that they will practice. Alchemy, metaphysics. It can be deemed as subjective.
This is alchemy too.
Yes, of course. Of course. Colonization was a form of alchemy, getting us to the space where we were subjugated. That's a form of alchemy.
Yeah, and the way they changed giving us the psychosis that they gave us, that's alchemy.
Yes. Us reversing it is a form of alchemy too. So
that's a form of alchemy too. Now, yeah. The only thing they just use they used our science against us. But first, what they did was, they took the children away from the parents a long time ago. And when you do that, you strip the people of everything.
That's the psychosis. That's when the psychosis kick in.
Yeah, when they were taking the children and breaking up the families. So that
traumatizes the DNA. The DNA carry that trauma in other groups, our inheritance. They get that trait.
Yeah,
it becomes a part of the trait of our DNA.
Now, and the only way to deal with that is by being aware of this.
We would have to go. It's a must that we do post-millennium, because that's when we will be under our own control. Then once we're under our own control, we can start realizing and evaluating how our worldview, what is our worldview, and I guarantee you, we're going to come out with something totally different. It's going to come out with something totally under our own nature, and under our own thought process that's based in our worldview, based in how our ancestors laid it down for us and stuff.
Devoid.
We're going to look at the
with
world.
Their programming completely taken out.
We already doing it. That's why they took out brothers like Dr. Sabi, and they start curing cancer and AIDS and shit that in this society, in this vibration, it's like, no, it's incurable. You can't cure this thing. Yes, it is. Now, in our world, you can.
But yeah, in the 1800s, they found out why people were dying of cancer and why other people weren't. It was because people that weren't dying of cancer, they were deworming themselves. And the people that were dying of cancer, they weren't deworming themselves. They were full of worms from all the fucked up food they were eating. And the worms, the waste that they make inside of us, that fungus, that turns into fungus and become disease and cancer.
Right. That's why you got to do a detox every so often. I do one every 6 months, like a full body detox.
Yeah, I know. I need. Yeah. Well, I try to stay away from.
They got stuff you can take, but what happens is when you take it, you probably ain't gonna be able to leave for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be.
It probably take like 2 days for you to get over it. Because I mean, when people think that you don't have toxins in your body, take one of these detoxes.
Oh, oh man, we are
Well,
full.
you gonna feel that shit. You gonna feel that shit.
Man, I used to think the best way to detox is to have a big giant tube of this, like a liquid or a fluid, that and you submerge someone in it and you can still breathe the fluid, but this stuff goes in you and just cleans everything out. And then the fluid just turns brown, yucky. And they have to continuously flush it out because all the toxin is coming out until the fluid is no longer yucky no more and it's just clear. That means everything has been cleaned out of you. I wonder if we could survive if we had all the toxins taken out of us at once.
But guess what? Guess what? That's when I'm talking about, when we go back to doing things under our own accord, through our own government approving certain things, or we creating legislation. It'd be our shit. So the science. Just think about the scientific breakthrough that will happen.
We will wipe out all the diseases because
we already doing it. Listen, it's already being done now. It's a what you call it? It's a propaganda campaign against any holistic actual help. They got rid of too many people. The pharmaceutical industry is too powerful.
Yeah, it's too powerful.
They
There's ran by a bunch of fucking.
Guess what? The thing about it is they're powerful because they've been working their angles for. We haven't been working our angles.
Right.
And the thing about it is, all we got. Imagine. This is all I can look. This is my challenge to the so-called Black community. 1 year of adhering to the proposal that the brothers have put forth. 1 year. 1 year of adhering to it, right? I'm talking about wholeheartedly, genuine, because I'm not talking about when y'all agree and then you go back to your immaturity.
That means changing your lifestyle.
1 year, that's it. If we don't produce the results that we are proposing will be produced, right? You know what I'm saying? Go back to doing what you want to do.
Oh shit! Go back to the red, white, and blue.
But they're not going to do it though, because I said 1 year of adhering to it. Like I'm talking about, you're going to have to do.
You're telling them to change their entire lifestyle. That's a lifestyle.
You're going to have to. Yes, and that's what y'all holding on to. So keep holding on.
Not only that, that's rewiring of the brain, lifestyle, activity, whole way of thinking. That is scary for these people. That's like putting them on top of a 300-story building and have them stand on the edge and look down.
Right.
And then telling them to grow some wings and fly.
You understand the metaphysical breakthrough we will make once we be independent, politically independent from these motherfuckers, and reverse the subjugation. Man, do you understand what we're gonna go so advanced? And this is the kind of the reason why all of the European nations have aided, because they knew we were gonna fall from grace, right?
Yeah,
they were basically custodians for that ancient knowledge, so they didn't necessarily interfere, but they really took advantage of the fact that the gods had to fall from grace for a minute, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, when we rise, right? They recognize that they have to give the throne back. They know it,
and they know what the consequences are if they don't, or if they resist. They're going to be very, very dire.
I think they're working hard to make sure we continue to allow them to access these higher vibrational levels of existence, precariously through us, because that's the only way. Because they're going to return back to the Stone Ages, brother. They're returning back to the Stone Ages. I'm gonna just be real. They only have been able to have a glimpse of this advanced higher vibrational existence through us, primarily through us. So it's over with. It's over with. My thing is, at the end of the day, this shit is over. Now let me read this because we got to go.
Okay.
The following are the structures of our ball and chain, right? This is the reverse of the psychosis. Free your mind from the ball and chain. The following are the structures of our ball and chain. Making decisions based on presumptions and assumptions led by emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! That's
the
way I feel. That's
feel.
exactly what we're constantly doing. Constantly. The way I'm making decisions based on the way I feel. You have no knowledge. You don't know. So you're going to do the less thing that you can do.
They'll say, I don't want to know. I don't care to know.
But guess what? That thinking right there, who does that benefit? Does it benefit you to think that way?
If I say so, yeah.
Say shit like that. Does it benefit you to think that way?
They're gonna say whatever they can think of to their defense at that point. That's what's gonna come out,
and that's fine. Because my thing is, I'm not about to try to convince no grown, set in their ways ass Negro about what they were. I'm never about to get in an argument with no Negro because it could get violent. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? I'm not trying to convince you. Go ahead. Do you? I'm just bringing this forth as a beacon, as being a beacon of light. Motherfuckers can take it or leave it. I don't give a freak. At the end of the day, okay. Rejected information due to pride, fear, and or laziness. That's just what we're talking about. That's just what we were talking about.
Yep.
They reject it because I'm too proud. I'm setting my ways. I already know.
Or I'm afraid. I mean, why do we have to fight?
The fear part is when people say stuff like, "Oh, do they want us to know this?
What can I do?
We ain't supposed to know this, man. Why'd you stirring up the pot, telling us this?
Yeah,
niggas, you afraid of what they gonna do because you know better now, huh? Okay. Wow. Yeah. The laziness is when people always try to like, oh boy, instead of trying to understand nationality, he say nationality is trash. Convenient. That's very convenient to you. Now you don't gotta understand nationality now.
Yeah.
That was very convenient. Nationality is trash. I ain't gotta understand it now. Lazy.
Yeah. You go back to whatever.
Exactly. You ain't say nationality is trash because you actually examined it and you have this is your best interest. No, it was an excuse for you to say something slick and go right back to regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
And if you bring it up again, you're gonna piss me off.
I don't give a fuck. Guess what? I grew up fighting, so I wish a nigga hit me, and I didn't think it's gonna be. I don't give a fuck how big you is too. So okay.
Yeah.
Hey, look. Accepting all saying that they say without identifying who said it.
Mm-hmm. They.
Right?
Yeah.
We do this all the time. They. Hey, who's that, motherfucker?
I remember I used to say that they or powers that be.
Letting the media, EI, television, entertainment control our perception of reality. I was just talking to a brother the other. I'm trying to tell this brother, okay, because he keep on telling me, he keep on repeating shit I've heard on the news and you've heard on the news. and trying to sound intelligent. I'm like, okay, you keep repeating stuff that I heard. He's racist. He's this. He's doing that. Tell me one policy that Trump passed that is against the American people. Name one. Though he's racist. I'm like, no. Tell me one policy. You can't tell me because you just listening to the news and repeating that shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, goddamn. I don't even want, man, I don't even want to talk to these people about that shit. But they can sit up and say, Trump, Trump, he ain't shit, Trump. And then when you start talking some real shit, that you become very offensive to them.
I mean, these people are emotional. I don't care about me personally, I don't give a freak. You know what I'm saying? Get emotional all you want. Because at the end of the day, I'm a tough love giver.
Mm-hmm.
If I gotta snap you out with tough love, come on. But at the end of the day, I'm not about to never cater to. I'll stop talking to you because we ain't got nothing to talk unless you bring it up to me. I'm not talking to you anymore.
I'm worse than tough love. I'm judgment. Shit. Do some rituals and bring some judgment down here. And if you motherfuckers,
you have every right to do so. That's it. That's the thing. The God's always judging the mortal.
Yeah, I bring judgment on their ass, and if they ain't right inside, fuck them. That's their ass.
Right. Look,
yeah,
ignoring the law of God, that's the law of nature. Right, the law of nature that's operating, and what I'm saying, what they really actually meaning is ignoring your natural self. We've amalgamated into be something that we not.
Yeah, and stripped of every. We've been stripped so hard. Oh god damn. We don't even understand how naked we don't even have skin. They stripped the skin off of us. They skinned our ass.
Right.
That's how, I mean, and then put some more clothes over, put some dirty clothes on over us to cover up the stripping that they did to us. And shit, now we think the dirty clothes they gave us is who we are. Or they put some new skin on. But they stripped us of our old skin and put some new skin on and say, this is who you are now.
The greatest example I can give is how the sisters are basically obsessed with this whole wig makeup obsession, man. I've recently seen a video, and I've seen multiple videos like this, like where they've done a small survey of so-called black men, and then they did a small survey of so-called black women, and they showed that so-called black men don't want women with all these wigs and all this shit. Why are y'all keep doing that? And then we gotta evaluate what it is. It's part of the psychosis. They have their standard of beauty is who they naturally are is ugly. Who they naturally are is ugly.
And they're trying to compete with
their standard of beauty is this a pale skin, this fucking amalgamated as idea of a standard of beauty, bro. Who you are naturally mostly, and I'm mostly talking to sisters because most brothers, they keep their natural look.
Yeah.
Talking about most sisters. You got to evaluate the fact that you don't like who you are. Who you naturally are. Who you naturally are. If you don't put on no makeup, you don't put on no wig, you don't like that person.
So you compromise that person to be someone else. You compromise your real true self, which means you compromise us too.
Well, this is why we have a divide in our community so big that most sisters have delineated from us. They look at themselves as a whole nother. I'm talking about a big percentage of sisters look at themselves like right now. You always like, for example, when Ice Cube was on Fox Soul, Vivica Fox, and all these other sisters that was on the damn program, and he was talking about the plan for so-called Black America. The so-called Black women don't look at themselves as just Black anymore. They look at themselves as women and Black now, right? But
So
they highlight their womanhood first. They like womanhood first before our so-called Blackness. That's what they're putting their womanhood before so-called Black, and they're for the most part sold out their so-called Blackness. That's to the side. That's not even priority an issue.
Piss them off.
Let's be real. How do we know? Why would a group of people put their nation at a disadvantage by behaving in a proudful way? Because I don't care about my duty to the whole. I don't care about my duty. This is what most sisters have done. They have attached themselves to the feminist movement, which had nothing to do with her. There was no patriarch society in so-called Black society when we was ruling. There was no patriarchs. So what are y'all y'all talking about the patriarch of Western society, and that's the grievance. Your grievance is not with so-called Black man. We in the same boat, sister, dumbass. We in the same boat with y'all. What the fuck? We got the same.
We're being subjugated together.
Now, don't get me wrong. A lot, like I said, just like a lot of you have adopted and amalgamated to the standards and the values of the foreigner. A lot of us have adopted and we've adopted patriarch. We've adopted patriarch, and we think that now let's get this right though, because there were we didn't look at gender the same way as the Western world looked at gender in our ancient societies, right? We were more in a sense of recognizing that women have the insight. They are the spiritual leaders, right? They were the one we went to for spiritual insight. Now, as it pertained to protection on a physical level, it was the man. The men were always the protectors of Ma'at. That's why I refer to myself as Stern Ma'at. We was always the protector of the patriarch or the matriarch, right? And we stood in front of her to make sure the lineage would continue on. That was our role.
Okay.
Right? So at the end of the day, there's a twisted, perverted version of that they call in Western society and think it's like male hierarchy over women. No. And it's based in this misconception of physical dominance make you better. No, physical dominance don't make you better. I'm sorry. It don't make you better. Right? It just it makes you more capable of physically subduing. That's it.
You're forcing your forcing yourself on other people, or forcing your political view or your personal view.
This is a lower level of our evolution as humans. That even that's what I'm saying. When most of the Western world is dealing with biological evolution, meaning they don't understand nature. Because we were more concerned with spiritual evolution.
Yes.
Right? Because it don't go the physical world to the spirit world. It goes the spiritual world to the physical world.
Yeah. Well, even higher than that.
Huh? And,
Even
and,
higher
and
than
the physical world is nothing more than an aspect of the spiritual world that's more denser, that's more solidified, right? So it's not that the physical world governs over the spiritual world. The spiritual world governs over, there's a symbiosis where they both are necessary, but one is trumps the other. The physical world is mind over matter. It's not matter over mind. We reverse
well,
it. Of course, it's perverted. We pervert it. It's perverted in this world. Is mind over is matter over
matter of
here.
yeah. But then again, the first principle of the Hermetic uh, science is that all is mind. The universe is mental, not physical.
Correct.
So yeah, so it's mind that matters, not the physical. The physical is a servant of the mind. Again, they try to make the lower the higher, and the higher
Right,
the lower.
right. This is a twisted, perverted, reversal of the energies within us. When they do
And
that, they're
so,
reversing the energy with us, which in turn reverse the energy outside of us.
which means spiritually, they're using the crown at the bottom as the root, as the energy to bring up the energy to the lower crown. They're using the higher crown to serve the lower crown.
Mm. But
Okay.
you refer to the root chakra as the crown,
Yeah. Yeah. When you invert it, when you live
and
in
the
the
crown as
inverted.
the root.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, this is basically how the universe of nature of the universe, what you just described. That's a
Hmm.
nature in the universe, because it's based in vibration frequencies and where you vibrating at. So exactly what I was talking about, how most people are vibrating below the heart chakra,
Yeah.
right? They're not vibrating above, between. I would say when you are becoming master, you vibrate in between, right here. Meaning that it's not, it can go all the way around, right? But the energy is like how it go like this, right? But
Hmm.
there's a secondary energy that's going right here too. That's
I call it the God dog energy. Okay.
right,
Generator, operator, destroyer, destroyer, operator, generator.
right. But when the
The God
kundalini,
dog.
is swirling from the crown to the root, right? It's going like that, crown root, right? There's a
Hmm.
secondary flow of energy, right? From the crown to the heart, crown to the heart, crown to the heart. And that right there is a state of being. That's a state of being where you become mastery over your lower self desire. It's like you were just saying how we use the physical world or the ego and all these things in our benefit on a spiritual journey. For the
Yeah,
spiritual
because
journey,
it's from the okay, the root chakra would be like the exhaust pipe. That's where that's where you get the fire from. That's the beast, the hell engine that fires up everything to the heart, to the crown. You're pulling on that
but
that
guess what? I don't want to cut your wisdom. I want that's
uh-huh.
that's the substance of the serpentine energy. Go ahead.
Yeah, while at the same time Christ fell from heaven, which is through the crown chakra, through the heart chakra, all the way to hell, to the root chakra, and then rises back up.
Right. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole process of spiritual development, becoming a God, basically becoming a beyond God, because we're going into beyond God stages, right?
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
concept hadn't even been introduced into our lexicon until recently, to
Yeah.
even go beyond God. Like, so there's always been something above God.
Yeah. There's
Like,
always,
I was taught there was nothing. That's the highest you can go.
well, we finally got exposed to that. That should have been around. We just
No.
weren't
You're right.
exposed.
I
We just weren't
agree.
exposed
But I'm
to it.
saying we are in the stage of our spiritual development, the incline, the incline
Mm-hmm.
to where now is being exposed. We're being exposed to that intelligence now.
We're being re-exposed. We're
All
being
right,
re-exposed.
Well, exactly. Like, we're saying the same thing. It already has already been. It's already
Yeah.
been. But we are now coming to conceptualize it based on we're vibrating at a higher level now.
Yeah. And
It's
and the beautiful
already been these higher vibrations already. These higher vibrations already exist. Remember, it's a multi-potential reality. Potentiality is chaos.
and the great thing is that we've gone through the alchemical process of being changed from something old into something brand new. Okay. The Europeans are, they're our servants in helping us in this process.
Yes, they are. You're right. Thank you.
They had to help take us, strip us of everything we were, and turn us into something else, and make us forget everything, and eventually come back into the knowledge at the point that we're supposed to, and going through this alchemical process, so that way when we do come out and we're back on the incline, we're coming out as something brand new that's never been before.
Right.
And with that, a whole new reality, a whole new shift.
Right. Because what happens is, every time it does the incline, the incline, right? The evolutionary stage of it. It goes up a notch. It goes up
It's
one
seven
vibrational tone. It goes
Yeah,
up one vibrational tone every time.
it's going through all seven chakras. You start from the root, the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the turquoise, blue, and then the purple, and start all over again.
Right. And then, when you start all over again, you're talking about another plane of hyper reality that's beneath. See, there's these planes of existence. This is better explained through heaven and hell. Heaven and hell, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, this is necessary for the developing gods, the souls that become the soul. The souls have to go through this process.
Yeah.
Our soul has to go through this.
Has to go through this. And it's going to go through this all the time.
Right.
Every time when we come to this level of the decline, from the decline all the way to the bottom, and then the flat, and then the incline back up, we always going to go through this, but it's going to be different each time.
Right.
And it's always going to look dire. It's always going to look like, oh shit, the fuck we going to do to get out of this?
Right. I've got a theory on that, bro. that when it's all is hopeless and it be the most desperate situation, it's all hopeless, and they saying in 7 years this asteroid gonna hit this motherfucker. I think that's gonna be one of the situations, bro. And it's something gonna come online, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. This shit ain't no joke. Something gonna come online, right? To where and they kind of talked about it in Loki's show. You got to watch Loki. It's called Loki, right? It talked about the time streams and the variance and all these different things. He was basically breaking down why. And this is crazy because I'll be coming up with concepts, not just me. It's just me tapping in or channeling these ancient concepts or these ancient understanding of the nature of reality, right? When I start breaking down the multi-potential reality, that show talks about it, bro. It talks about it, and it literally talked about how they're the channel that you can tune to where the end of the world is always going on.
Yeah,
that shit was crazy. I was like, yes, they talking about what I'm talking about.
But what if that meteor is, you remember how Bobby Hemmett used to say those meteors and comets are what's left over of the primordial universe, and it represents the stuff inside of us that's left over from the primordial universe?
They talk about it too. No, they talk about it too.
And it come back and hit us, and it doesn't matter if it wipes us out. It's going to change. It might be something that from left over from our primordial past that connect itself back with us, and we start all over again as something brand new.
Listen, what I've learned from studying the metaphysics, right, from studying Gnosticism, is that we stay fixated on what's going to happen to the humanity. We stay fixated on that. Like, we think that is the end all be all. Whatever happens to humanity, if the end of humanity, that means the end of everything. No.
It's the evolution of the soul. Humanity,
as a matter of fact, the end of humanity is what we actually want.
Yeah. That's the hatching of the cocoon.
Right. That's why I was just saying, if something dire comes and shit, something gonna kick online. Something gonna kick online. I guarantee you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to happen on the physical plane. This thing can come.
The physical plane is nothing but a construct, man.
Yeah, it can completely crash the physical plane and send us into the astral or beyond. We might create a new space.
Listen, brother, we have to get out of our perceptual. That's just something we create. We create these things. It's not nothing we're bounded by. We're not bounded by this physical world. We create physical worlds. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
not the other way. Oh, the physical world going to, and we all
no.
But they say these things.
But see, they believe in some anthropomorphic sky daddy that created everything, and they're just a little tiny ant that has to bow down to some sky daddy.
But the thing about it, when I ask people who are in the institutionalized religion, belief systems and stuff, I will ask them, do you recognize your urge to actually have that idea of a being that's beyond you? What's the driven spirit behind you having to have that? Why do you have to have it?
Because master said so. Because my master said so.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, even prior to your master colonizing you, you had an urge to place a certain anthropomorphized thing in the universe in a certain place. Is it that person? Look, people will ask me, will tell me, "Oh, God created everything. God created." Well, guess what? We created gods, though. Okay, God created everything, but guess what? We created gods. Like, What do y'all don't get this? Y'all just getting caught up in the subordinate aspect of the back and forth, the exchange. You getting caught up in the subordinate part of it.
Then anthropomorphic and
right. You are, look, put it like this.
Sky Daddy.
You are the supreme being and the subordinate at the same time.
Yeah, how big eye, and little eye. And little eye must do the work of the Father, which is the big eye. Or little eye running the show and put the big eye at the bottom and little eye at the top. Listen.
Right. My point is, once you recognize that, you're going to turn off the inhibitor chip. Right? You're gonna release your inhibitions now. It's like you're not going to operate the same inferior mindset that you was operating when you just it's a superior being that's above me. Guess what? You assigned it. Look, this is what I tell people in the didn't you have to agree to adhere to God's word? So who? Because God gave you free will. Who was the subordinate then?
God is.
You have to agree to follow His commandments. You can agree. You can say I don't want to follow His commandments.
And that's the reason why I said bad things happen to a lot of God-fearing people.
But check this out. Most people don't recognize. I'm telling you, you're creating this, right? This is why. How can I tell you're creating this, right? Because when they doing negative, you hear a lot of people always say, "Oh, he's still working on me." How you know what he gonna do? I thought you didn't have no control over what he do, but you just told him he working on you. How did you tell him he working on you? What did you? Oh, you just saying that because this is. But guess what? Guess what? You supposed to not be able to even conceive of what God wants for you. Oh, He wants good for me. What is good? You got to reevaluate your whole concepts now, right? Because at the end of the day, you attribute everything you saying God is. You attribute it.
But then they're gonna say. Then they're gonna get real personal and say, what happens between me and my God is my business.
Exactly.
Speak on that.
Exactly. I'm not gonna argue with it. Yes, I agree. You're a guy. You created that. That dynamics y'all having is
then they're gonna say
it's a reciprocity. It's a reciprocity. So when people
they're gonna say the God of Abraham.
No, listen, I don't care what God, what deity, what demiurge you're referring to. What dollar broth you're referring to. I don't it don't matter.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you just taking the inferior position in this energy exchange. It's an energy exchange.
You're not taking control of your life and destiny. You're leaving it to some sky daddy, somebody up in the sky, some invisible being in the sky that you created in your mind and heart, that's watching down on you and taking record of all the good things you do and all the bad things you do, say, think, and feel.
My thing is, most people telling God what He's doing for them in their life. So if you already saying what He's doing, don't you think that you have you playing the subordinate, but at the same time you playing a narcissist at the same. You're a narcissist, a control freak at the same time.
But the scary part, they're fucking with inferior energy, which opens them up to all these bad things happening to them. Because
they make themselves acceptable because they vibrate at such a low level, and they're ignorant. Their own ignorance are making them vulnerable to these lower vibrational beings that exist. We exist in a world, we exist in a universe, in existence where the vibrational state of space time is based in where you're vibrating at. Meaning, what are you paying attention to? What is occupying your spirit? What is occupying you? What is on your spirit? Whatever's on your spirit is where you vibrating at.
Yeah.
So you got to be mindful of what's on your spirit. You got to be aware of your spirit too. You got to be aware of the fact that there are multiple entities that are playing a part in this creation of humanity, right? And you got to be able to take charge in the sense of mastery over self, right? When you are the master of yourself, it don't matter entities lower than you, above you, it don't matter. That's not the point. See, that's the conceptual that's the way we conceive these things that is at a disadvantage, because what we call in higher beings, they're not better than lower beings, and lower beings are not better than. There's a reciprocity with everything, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The whole universe is reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have this inferiority complex where we say we are subordinates. Yes, until you become a master.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. And when you do that, it changes everything.
Right.
And it's almost unfair.
It is. It ain't about you bring up fair, unfair. It ain't about. It's justice. It's justice.
It is divine justice.
I wouldn't even. I would say it's justice, though. I wouldn't use the word fair or not fair, equal, or it's justice.
Yeah, it's justice.
It's justice, man. It's it. Mm-hmm. Justice sometimes may be looked at as something negative to some people. They may, right?
Yeah, or it could. Yeah. See, for the, let's say, for the man and woman who prepared for the worst to come, and when the worst come, they prepared so well that they have the best, and then all the ones who didn't, they have the worst, and they're having it so good, and they look out the window and they see the ones having it the worst. It's a god dang, we did, even though we did what we had to do, it was right. It's almost unfair compared to them.
That's why we have to be due diligent on what you wasn't introduced to this understanding of international law, and it wasn't happenstance. Why are you being introduced to this? Why you think it's just something that's passive, that you just, it's just passive? We've been introduced to this because we are meant for greater things, bro. Why? I always ask myself that. Why am I being introduced to this higher knowledge? Because it's expected of greater things, man. It's expected of us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I always be hammering this to our people. Right now, like, we got these misconceptions of what's going to take. The what's going to take right now is actually reversing the psychosis.
Yeah,
that's the first beginning, and that only can be done through the study group that I've already been doing for years. Nobody want to come. Okay, do you? My thing is, if you moving in the psychosis, you're going to guarantee to perpetuate your own subjugation.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not even on the mic. We're not working forward in the right mindset to even make progress. All we're going to do is keep on going in a perpetual cycle. Yeah. Right? We're gonna keep doing the same thing but expecting different results, which is insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my last word. You can get your last word in, brother, because we gotta go.
My last word. Shish kebab. Well, yeah, the big eye and the little eye. Make sure your little eye is the servant and your big eye is the master. Okay. Because when the big eye is the master and the little eye is the servant, the little eye is going to do everything that it's supposed to do. Well, it's carrying out the will of the big eye. And the big eye's will, the byproducts of that is going to be great. The byproducts that come along with that, they're going to be very positive after you go through all the shit that you have to go through. Once you've proven yourself and you're going through all, the adversity and everything, there'll come a point or a day where the byproducts from your work is going to be very luscious. And then you're going to be an effective tool with uh, for others, for us all. Because again, man know thyself. And when man know thyself, you know that we're all connected. So when you do what it is required for you to do for the self, then you're going to see that same thing in the others when they're doing the same thing. And when those people come together, when you have a mastermind of people on the same level, oh man, that becomes very, very powerful. And I'm looking forward to us forming our own mastermind. And yeah, I think it's about lifestyle, and it's about changing the lifestyle. It's not easy, but over time we can do that, making the right adjustments, and we can come together and make this happen, make this work, and change everything from here on out, change history. It's in our hands right now. It's in your hands, his hands, her hands. The ball is in our corner now. So what we're going to do, what we do is up to each one of us. So that's what I have to say.
We see y'all next week.
Next week.